Hello everyone, a warm welcome to the first class for the new year. Congratulations to all of you for having reached the final leg of your formal catechism teaching. This is the first lesson for the year 12 class. And the first class is on faith. That is the first chapter. So let's begin with a small prayer. Lord, I know that you are with me and love me. Give me peace of mind as I prepare for this time of study. Help me to focus on what I hear and keep me from all distractions so that I will make the best use of this time that is available to me. So in this class, we will talk about the meaning of the word faith, and we will explore that further using the characteristics of faith as described in the Catechism of the Catholic Church and a summary of what we believe. This is more or less a revision of what we learned before. And we use the life of Abraham from the Old Testament and Mary from the New Testament as examples of two people who have used faith in their life. And we will have two homework tasks, the expression of faith in our life and some research on Saint Augustine of Hippo. Let's begin. Let's start by talking a bit about the meaning of the word faith. Something which has been appearing in the headlines recently. As all of you know, the A-level results was in the headlines and the faith was there. Here you will see in a local newspaper headline, the peoples lose faith in the education system, as 70 peoples were set to appeal against the low grades which the examination authority awarded them. Again, in the Channel 4 news headlines, it says, working class children are losing faith in the education system. Another headline which appeared in the Guardian newspaper were parents and teachers expressing their lack of faith in the government and in the education secretary for his ability to get the children back into school in the new year. This is a BBC News headlines where they say the public is losing faith in the police. This is based upon a recent inspectorate report on the various English constabularies. This is another headline in Sky Sports where the famous Ed Walker, the horse trainer, saying that he retains his faith in the English king, which is a call in the racing season, in spite of him losing the two previous races. Let's pause for a minute and think about the meaning of the word faith. So I want you to have a discussion among yourselves as to what it means. Is it the same as the usage of word faith in our religion? So if you are watching this as a recorded video, this is the time for you to make some notes and pause the video now. Here you will see two meanings of the word faith. One is complete trust or confidence in someone or something. The other one is a strong belief in God based upon spiritual conviction rather than proof. In the first meaning, we talk about trust and confidence in various human organizations and systems based upon our experience. Our trust and confidence in the police, the judiciary, the government, the examination system, and various other human organizations and systems. In the second meaning, it is one of strong belief based on conviction rather than proof. This is not a sociology lecture, so I'm not going to go into the details of factors which leads to people losing and gaining faith in human organizations. We are going to focus more on what is that strong belief based upon conviction rather than proof. I'm going to use the characteristics of faith to explain this further. This is based upon the 7 characteristics listed in the Catechism of the Catholic Church, which is there in the paragraphs 153 to 165. I'm going to go through those characteristics one by one to help us understand what is the meaning of the faith. First is that it is a grace. When I say grace, it's important to think that we as a society depend a lot on our intelligence and our power, wealth, influence, networks, social networks, and political networks to get what we want. We have a lot of, we depend quite a lot. We proud ourselves with our intelligence and power and networks and our ability to get things done. But when we see faith, this is something which we receive as a gift, not something which we can gain from our hard work or through our intelligence. It is a free gift, something which we receive, not based upon our merits, but purely as a grace. That is why people of strong faith have a sense of joy. When you talk to people of strong faith, you will feel the joy of having received that faith which they have. The second characteristic of faith is that it is a human act. What it means is that the gift has got no meaning unless we receive it. How we respond to that gift. If we don't open the gift or open or try to find out what it is, then the gift has got no meaning at all. So it is very much our response to what we have received. The third characteristic of faith is the understanding. It relates to the understanding. When we say understanding, there is some misunderstanding that faith is blind following. It's about blindly following something which is being told. It is in fact the opposite. The faith is about opening our understanding of the world and about ourselves. Last year, we had extensive discussions in the chapter 7 about science and religion. We discussed why science and religion are complementary and not contradictory. Faith allows us to understand the universe and also the scientific discoveries and scientific methods better and deepen our understanding of the universe around us. The fourth aspect of faith is about the freedom. That is, it must be free. Nobody can be forced to embrace faith against his or her will. It's very much a free act. It is between the person who is giving, that is, the creator of the universe, the God, revealing himself, the invisible God, making himself visible, and the person who is receiving the faith. It is a one-to-one relationship. Nobody can force. There is no third party involved. Nobody can force that relationship between the Creator and the person. The fifth aspect of faith is its necessity. Even though we use the word faith even though I used gift to explain the concept of faith as a grace, but it is not a gift which we can throw away. It is something which we need. As Saint Augustine, about whom you will be doing the research as part of the homework task, said, "Oh God, you created me for you. My soul will be restless until it becomes one with you." It just explains how important faith is for us to understand ourselves and in our relationship with others around us. The sixth aspect, the next aspect of faith is the perseverance. That is, it is something which we need for the rest of our lives, something which grows with us, like a tiny seedling which grows into a huge tree. The faith grows within us. An increasing understanding about what we believe grows with us as we stick with the faith. And that is why we say gift is not a good word to use sometimes, because it is more than a gift. It is a necessary gift, or is something which is necessary for us and which we need to keep forever. And that leads us to the next characteristic of the faith, and because it is the beginning of eternal life. The faith gives us the route map to take us to our heavenly abode. Without faith, it is so easy to get lost on the way. So that is why faith is the beginning which we keep with us and allow us to grow as we make our journey towards our eternal home. So let's pause a minute and just have some discussion among ourselves as to around the 7 characteristics of faith. Now, if you are watching this as a recorded video, this is the time for you to make some notes. If you have any questions, send the questions by email or through Google Classroom. And you can pause the video now. Now let's move on to the next section. That is what we believe. This is something which we covered during our previous years. So this is going to be more of a brief revision of what we learned earlier. We have the Nicene Creed. Creed is just, as we learned before, it is a formal statement of our beliefs. It was originally adopted in the city of Nicaea, which is the town of Iznik, which is near Istanbul in Turkey, and in the Council of Nicaea in AD 325. You see a fresco, which is there in the Sistine Chapel, painted by one of the Renaissance artists. Here you will see a 6th century manuscript of the Nicene Creed. You will see that in the John Rylands Library. If you live near Manchester, please visit the John Rylands Library, which is the University of Manchester Library, and they have a huge collection of very precious, ancient biblical manuscripts. This is from the 6th century, which is the earliest preserved manuscript of the Nicene Creed. We also have the Catechism of the Catholic Church, which is a much more detailed, explanation and description of what we believe. It was published by John Paul II as a book in 1992, which is arranged as 4 principal parts. And it has got 2,865 paragraphs. As you have seen earlier, I have referred the corresponding paragraphs as CCC followed by the number. And if you get time, please read the first 3 paragraphs, which gives an essence of beautiful summary of what we believe. That's the life of man, to know and love God. The first 3 paragraphs, beautiful summary, beautifully written. Now, we have been so far talking about the theory of faith. Now let's talk about real people. That is Abraham from the Old Testament and Mary from the New Testament. How they expressed faith in their life. As you know, you will read about the life of Abraham in the book of Genesis from chapter 12 to 24, where he is described as from the place called Ur of Chaldeans. During the early part of the 20th century, a lot of excavations, a team of archaeologists from the British Museum and the University of Pennsylvania made some substantial discoveries from a place near Nasiriyah in southern Iraq, where they made significant discoveries about artifacts from that time. Here you will see the cigarette which they were building to worship the moon god. The story is that in Genesis, the Abraham listens to the call from God, leaves everything. This is the cradle of human civilization, which was at that time the land between the rivers of Euphrates and Tigris. He leaves. This was the center of science, technology, and everything. He leaves all these things behind and goes to the promised land as instructed by God. That is why we call him the father of all who believe. Throughout his life, we will see faith dictating various aspects of his life. By faith, Abraham obeyed when he was called to go out to a place which he was to receive as an inheritance. And he went out not knowing where he was to go. By faith, he lived as a stranger and pilgrim in the promised land. By faith, Sarah was given to conceive the son of the promise. By faith, Abraham offered his only son in sacrifice. Faith is assurance of things hoped for and the conviction of things not seen. Here, you see the famous painting by Caravaggio. You will see the Uffizi Gallery in Florence. It's a Baroque painter where Abraham is about to sacrifice his son Isaac. In the same gallery, you will see this painting, The Annunciation by Leonardo da Vinci, the famous Renaissance painter and scientist, and from the 15th century. Mary is the subject of the next part of our talk, about how Mary expressed faith in her life. By faith, Mary welcomes the promise brought to her by angel Gabriel, believing that with God, nothing will be impossible. Elizabeth greeted her. Blessed is she who believed that there will be fulfillment of what was spoken to her from the Lord. It is for this faith that all generations have called Mary blessed. Throughout her life and until Jesus, her son, died on the cross, Mary's faith never wavered. She never ceased to believe in the fulfillment of God's word. So that is why the church venerates Mary as the purest realization of faith. So this is very much a revision of what we learned about Abraham and Mary in our previous years, just to kind of remind ourselves how Abraham and Mary used faith in their life and how faith decided everything they did in their life, how they expressed faith. So that takes us to the next section, which is about the expression of faith in our life. How do we express faith in our life? So it's a time for us to reflect on how we can, or how we are now, expressing faith in our personal life. That is how we see ourselves, how we define our relationship with others, how we respond to day-to-day events in our life, and how we express faith in our family life, in our relationship with our parents, brothers and sisters, and all the important people in our family, and in our church life, and also in our community life. If you are watching this as a recorded video, it's time for you to make some notes, which you can expand further in your homework task. You can pause the video now if you are watching this as a recorded video. Now let's move on to the last section of our talk, of our lesson, that is about Saint Augustine of Hippo. You will find a deep explanation of your homework task in the notes I have prepared and I will be circulating. And I'm just going to give a brief introduction about Saint Augustine. Hippo means he is from the North Algerian town, which is near Tunisia, which used to be a great center of Christianity in North Africa. He lived between 354 and 430 AD. He is one of the most important church fathers. His writings influenced not just Western Christianity, but also Western philosophy. His books like The City of God, on Christian doctrine and confessions have greatly influenced the Western Christianity as well as philosophy. So far, we discussed the meaning of the word faith and expanded it further through going through the characteristics of faith. We also reviewed what we believed, and we briefly touched upon the faith of Abraham and Mary. And finally, as a homework task, think about how you express faith in your personal life, family life, and in your church life and in the community life, and what you can do, how you can use the examples of faith of Abraham and Mary, and an opportunity to how you can deepen your faith and how you can express it better in your life. And also do some research on Saint Augustine of Hippo, a great man, how he found faith, what his life was before he found faith, and what he wrote about faith and the changes in his life after he found his faith. Finally, let's finish our class with a small prayer. Lord, I know you are with me and love me. I thank you for the ability to be able to study and for the many gifts and talents you have given me. Help me always to use them in such a way that they honor you and be of service to my neighbors. Thank you very much. See you at the next class. Bye for now.